September 22, 2021. Good day all. This is a message from Sierra Victor. We continue with message number 13 of counter-guerrilla operations with FM 90-8/MCRP 333A as reference and discuss counterinsurgency operations. Offensive operations. 3 phases. This section discusses offensive operations which brigades, and subordinate units, may have to conduct. For purposes of organization and clarity, operations are discussed under those phases of an insurgency in which they will most often have to be conducted. Depending on the tactical situation, these operations, or variations and combinations of them, may be conducted during any of the 3 phases of insurgent activity. Latent and incipient insurgency. Guerrilla warfare. And war of movement. Phase 1, Latent and incipient insurgency. This phase ranges from subversive activity that is only a potential threat, latent or incipient, to situations in which frequent subversive incidents and activities occur in an organized pattern. It involves no major outbreak of violence or uncontrolled insurgency activity. Possible insurgent activities during Phase 1 include attacks on police forces, other terroristic activities, and some minor military operations carried out to gain additional influence over the population, or provide arms for the movement, and to challenge the government's ability to maintain law and order. Furthermore, groundwork is laid for extensive external materiel support which is essential in most cases for the expansion of the insurgency and its eventual success. We are already in this phase, here in South Africa. Phase 2, Guerrilla warfare. Phase 2 is reached when the subversive movement, having gained sufficient local or external support, initiates organized guerrilla warfare or related forms of violence against the government. Examples of insurgent activities during Phase 2 include: 1. Activities initiated in Phase 1 are continued and expanded. Insurgent control, both political and military, over territory and populace, is intensified. 2. Guerrilla warfare is used on a larger scale, and limited defense is conducted in some geographic areas. 3. An insurgent government is established in insurgent-dominated areas as the military situation permits. In areas not yet controlled, efforts are made to neutralize actual or potential opposition groups and to increase infiltration into government agencies. Intimidation through terror and threat of guerrilla action increases and thus becomes more significant. The major goal is to control additional areas. The government is forced to strain its resources trying to protect everything at the same time. Insurgent forces attempt to tie down government troops in static defense tasks, interdict and destroy lines of communications, and capture or destroy supplies and other government resources. Small unit operations. Small unit operations are used against guerrilla activities in the second phase of an insurgency. They are effective since small units can cover more territory than a large unit, they keep the guerrilla off balance, and their friendly firepower, that can be rapidly masked, may provide a favorable ratio in meeting engagements. In Phase 2, the guerrilla is usually operating in smaller units. 2. Raid. A raid is an operation involving a swift penetration of hostile territory to secure information, harass the guerrilla force, or destroy the guerrilla force and its installation. It ends in a planned withdrawal upon completion of the assigned mission. A successful raid is based on accurate, timely, and detailed information. Raids are usually targeted against single, isolated guerrilla base camps. To assist in attaining surprise, the raiding force uses inclement weather, limited visibility, or terrain normally considered impassable. The raiding force is normally organized into an assault element and a security element. A larger raiding force may add a support element while a small raiding force includes supporting weapons in the assault element. The use of airborne and air assault forces for a raid enhances surprise. If night airborne or air assault raids are conducted, the force must be accurately inserted and oriented on the ground. Air assault forces supported by armed helicopters offer infinite possibilities for conducting raids. This type of raid force can move in, strike the objective, and withdraw without extensive preparation or support from other sources. Patrols. Conventional patrolling doctrine normally applies to counter guerrilla operations, but some techniques must be oriented to meet the guerrilla's activities and the operational environment. Patrolling becomes more significant in counter-guerrilla operations because of the difficulty in locating and identifying guerrilla forces and determining their intentions. Patrolling is used when limited, or no, intelligence on guerrilla activity is available. Personnel should be thoroughly briefed, carry only mission-essential equipment, and be physically fit. Routes are planned carefully and coordinated with higher, lower, and adjacent units, to include air and ground fire support elements and reserve forces. Patrolling is done to find and destroy the guerrilla, and to deny him use of an area. Patrols are usually categorized as either combat or reconnaissance. Patrols can be employed to 1. Saturate areas of suspected guerrilla activity. 2. Control critical roads and trails. 3. Maintain contact between villages and units. 4. Establish population checkpoints. 5. Provide security for friendly forces. 6. Interdict guerrilla routes of supply and communication. 7. Establish ambushes. 8. Pursue, maintain contact with, and destroy guerrillas. 9. Provide internal security in rural areas and locate guerrilla units and base camps. Saturation patrolling is extremely effective in Phase 2 situations. In this technique, patrols are conducted by many lightly armed, small, fast-moving units and provide thorough area coverage. Patrols move over planned and coordinated routes which are changed frequently to avoid establishing patterns. Use of saturation patrolling results in the sustained denial of an area to guerrilla forces as they seek to avoid contact with the counter-guerrilla units. In addition to harassment and discovery of guerrilla tactical forces, this technique provides 1. An opportunity to gain an intimate knowledge of the area of operations. 2. A form of reassurance to the local population that the government is concerned about their protection and security. 3. A means by which information about the guerrilla can be obtained. Due to WhatsApp audio length, we keep our message between 5 and 10 minutes. In our next message, we will continue and then we'll continue with offensive operations. Please visit our Dropbox account for all our previous material. Links can be obtained from any admin on the Sierra Victor groups. Thank you for listening or reading this message. Please feel free to use and distribute as needed. Our messages are not by any means enticing you to a revolution of sorts, but rather to equip you with the necessary theoretical background in order to assist local armed forces or police in stabilizing a SHTF situation. We wish you well. Sierra Victor.